Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of American Builders. I am here today with Peter Ponce de Leon of Vegas Family Solar. Peter, thanks for coming on. We'll start with a little bit of background, like we start all episodes. Just provide
Sure.
the audience with some context on kind of who you are and how you made it into this world of solar installation, service, all that.
Okay, great. Appreciate that. Yeah. I'm operating here in the southern Nevada, and I was raised in the trade. I got into the trade, the electrical trade, and solar is really a derivative of the electrical trade. And solar is a very basic portion of the electrical trade. And I have some content on my website, and you can see how I break it down quite easily. But I've been in the trade since I was about 19, maybe 20 years of age, and today I'm 50. So I've been in the trade for quite a long time, and I was raised and born in Northern California in San Jose. So I came up in the trade, I came up in the union, and went to a 5-year apprenticeship program. I moved up in the ranks in the union. I used to manage some of the biggest projects in the country, at least at the time. And the last project I was part of management was the Apple headquarters in Cupertino, California. So I was raised in the trade, and this is basically not all that I know. I'm a student of a few other things, but electrical designing systems, installing systems, managing men, it's something that I've been doing forever. And I said, hey, what the heck? So I relocated my family out here to Las Vegas because the Bay Area was just so expensive. Even being a union electrician who's a foreman, a general foreman, it's still quite expensive to live in the most expensive city and basically in the entire US of A. So I uprooted my family about 10 years ago. Here we moved to Vegas and we opened up shop here in Las Vegas. And here in Vegas, it's actually almost an automatic to, at minimum, consider solar as an option for you because there are basically no shading issues here in Vegas. In Northern California, you got trees, power lines, you got every type of tree you can think of, from apple trees to avocado trees, pine trees, redwood trees, you name it. So shading is a major issue. Here in Vegas, shading is almost never an issue. In addition to that, Vegas gets probably the most sunlight out of all the entire US. I mean, we get more peak sun hours than 89% of the continental US. And that basically just includes those places that are livable. Like we're not talking about like Death Valley or something. So it's really a no-brainer. And that's how I got into the industry. It's really quite simple for me to transfer from pure electrical to doing solar along with other electrical projects.
So did you know that, hey, I'm going to go to Nevada and I'm going to start a solar company? Or was it, I'm in Nevada, now what do I do? Like, how did you pick solar?
Very good. That's a great question. I actually came to Nevada to become a financial advisor. I wanted out of the trade, and I was working 60 hours a week in California, managing huge projects, killing myself. My family lived a great life, not me. I worked so many hours. So I said, I'm done with this. And I came to Vegas to become a financial advisor. And I was, and we did well. The pandemic happened, and it shut down everything. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen to the financial advising industry. And it was tough getting started here in Vegas. Vegas is a very cliquey city. It's uh, it's very transient. So the trust level is not there when you meet new people because people come and go in the city. It's less transient than it was 10 years ago, but it still has that kind of people you don't, it's hard to earn people's trust here. So it took me about a year or two to build up a nice agency. We did well. And then the pandemic just completely crushed it. And then my men back home in the Bay Area, they were still working because electrical was, I forgot what the government categorized it as, they were
Necessary
necessary
or
or whatever it might be, right? So they were still working. I was like, holy moly's. And I was at home not knowing what was going to happen in the financial services industry, even though we sold a ton of life insurance at that time. So I hedged. I'm an investor and I hedged. I said, okay, I have the skill set, I know how to, I'm a really good electrician and I have a ton of experience. So let me just open up a shop as a hedge. So I opened up my shop as a complete hedge, and one thing led to another. It just started booming. People were showered with stimulus checks, so they stayed home and they completely just remodeled their homes. That's what they did, and my phone was ringing nonstop. And so I had to sit down and think, hey, what do I really want to do? I love economics and the financial advising and finance and economic history and all this stuff. And in finance in the financial services arena, I had to call and chase people. Like I'm like, hey, this financial product, you said you want to move some money, or you buy this to do this estate plan, or buy this insurance policy, whatever it might be. But in the electrical industry, my phone was blowing up. People were calling me and they were hunting me down. I was like, wow, okay. So we went all in. We went all in on the electrical side. And of course, solar just fell right into place because, like I said, we are in Las Vegas and solar was booming at the time. We had the 30% tax credit. People are like, hey, do you do solar? Do you do solar? And I said, well, I certainly can. So I said, hey, you know what? We certainly need to implement solar into the things that we do. And it was really quite easy because solar is a very easy electrical installation. It's a 1 day project, right? Maybe 2 days tops, three if it's a rather large project. It's a very simple installation, and so we jumped in and started installing solar, and so now we do solar. We install, we design and install solar, service solar, all the and other electrical projects too, from commercial to industrial. So that's how I got into the industry here in Las Vegas.
That's perfect context. Let's focus in on that moment where you said, "Okay, we're going to go all in." And I'm glad you added that context of, "Hey, you were doing electrical work, just kind of things pop up, and then you really narrowed in on solar." Let's say you're talking to somebody who's in a very similar scenario. No, they've got a electrical contracting business and they're thinking about narrowing in specifically on solar. What are those maybe 2 to 5 things that they have to do to sort of get started, whether that's certifications, insurance, partnerships? What are kind of the core things you need to do to get up and running?
That's a great question. That is, I would recommend people to understand the variety of systems that are available to customers. You have two or three dominant systems that require knowledge of their software, getting certified as an installer for their equipment, learning those systems. And it's quite easy if you have electrical background and you went to school for this. It's really simple. But you still have to go through the training courses for be it Tesla or Enphase or SolarEdge or EG4 or EcoFlow or REC solar panels, whatever it might be. You still need to dedicate that time to hammer down and pass those certifications or get those certifications and pass those tests. And then once you are able to do that, you understand the variety of systems that are out there. Like I know solar contractors, they just focus on one system basically, or two systems. But customers are saying, hey, I don't want that system. I want this system. Like we're doing a rather large EcoFlow system with REC panels. And this customer specifically wanted that equipment. And he's like, hey, I called everybody in town, the big guys and the small guys, and they're not certified to do this and they don't want to do this. And that's because, they're running a cookie cutter shop and they're pigeonholing themselves into systems that I did well when the tax credit was in effect, and people really didn't give a rip. Like, yeah, it's going to save me money, go ahead and install it. So I understand the variety of systems that are available. And if you're a true electrician, who came up the right way, you can adapt to different systems. It's really simple. It's really all the same stuff. So that'd be one. Another thing I would caution young contractors getting in and attempting to install solar is to understand that the money has to be right for you to do the job. And that might go without saying for a lot of folks, but a lot of big companies, they went out of business. Medium-sized companies, they went out of business once things slowed down because for the simple fact, they weren't making much money. Like solar, there's not a ton of money to make on a solar project. And I had marketing teams come up to me who I know personally, who are my friends, and tell me, Peter, we're going to get you all these deals, and you're going to make the money on the volume. And I go, well, that doesn't make sense because I'm not. I don't own a retail company where I sell packaged goods like canned goods and prepackaged food where I have to sell a whole bunch because my margins are so thin. No, I'm taking risks. I'm managing land, labor, and capital. I have men on the roof, penetrating people's properties and installing these electrical systems. Like, we're not, if I can't make money on that one job, then I'm likely going to walk away from it because it's not worth the risk. So a lot of the big ones, they went out of business because they weren't making the money. They were living on the advances that the banks, the finance companies were giving them. And, they got ahead of themselves and, they just, so the money has to be right because you are taking risk. And if you're not, if you're not getting paid properly, not making the money, you have a huge incentive to rush through that project and cut corners. And that system will have problems in the future, and you're going to get called back to go and fix it. And it might cost you two, three, $4,000 to go back and fix what you kind of messed up on because you're under the gun by not bidding the project right. So that'd be another one. Make sure the money's right.
Mm.
Two,
When
no, go
so
ahead.
you, I'll kind of summarize that, and then you can feel free to correct or add on. But it's like step one: understand the landscape of who are the systems and providers that are out there. Step two:
Really.
you go through a pretty typical process of getting certified and training with each specific one, so you can kind of be a certified dealer of each product. And then step three: kind of understanding the numbers and what you're getting into. Is that a fair summary? And then I have some follow up questions to that.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. You hit it on the head.
Okay. So then when it comes to getting licensed or certified with specific providers, is there an upfront cost associated with that process? Do you need to have capital ready to deploy, or is this something you can do day one?
No, you don't need capital to be certified with the companies that like EcoFlow or EG4. It doesn't cost any money. It'll take some time. It'll take some
Yeah.
energy, focus, but nothing in terms of money because these companies they want you to
Right.
sell their products. They want you to be certified with them because they're hoping that hey, you'll put their products on people's property so they can keep that business going and going. But you will need money. You will need credit. Like you will need a lot of credit. I'd say, you'd have to go to vendors and say, hey, listen, I'm a new contractor. I'm a new installer. Can I get a line of credit with you guys? And you got to qualify for that. And if you're new and you don't have a history of business and you don't have money in the bank, it's real easy to be declined. So you will need lines of credit from several distributors, and you'll need credit cards, your own personal credit cards as well. And so you got to build yourself up and have good credit and have money in the bank.
Would you recommend this being a sort of add-on side service? Or is this something where you would say, hey, you need to go, if you're going to do solar and you're going to do it right, you have to go all in? Or could you kind of play both sides of it?
Mm. If you're a big shop with the right personnel, and I mean, you're surrounded by people who can design and install systems themselves. Like I can sit down, I can draw out with a pen and pad and design a solar system, big, small, using various different types of equipment. So if you're a shop who has like six, seven, 8 men who can do that, then yes, you can do whatever you want because you're simply qualified to do so. And there are shops out there that can do that. There may be two shops out here in Las Vegas outside of us who can do that, but most can't. So unless you have the expertise, I wouldn't attempt to do that because you might end up biting off more than you can chew and costing your company a lot of money, and not to mention your reputation. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that somebody go down that route. You got to be all in on solar for the most part.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about partnerships specifically. Who are some of the types of businesses or individuals that you are looking to partner with? Yeah, it could be general contractors who are building lots of homes. That could be roofers who are already on the roof. Like who are those pillar partnerships that somebody should make sure they have established in order to kind of create some sort of recurring business coming in from those?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say general contractors for sure. General contractors, they do complete remodels. kitchen remodels, bathroom remodels. Like we have a custom home that we're doing currently, and right now we're in the phase of basically just the first floor. The second floor is the next phase. But the gentleman has Tesla, a whole Tesla system, and he wants to get rid of it. This is a very wealthy guy, by the way. He wants to get rid of his Tesla system because he doesn't like the customer support, and he wants me to install a new system on it, and it'll likely be it won't be Tesla, by the way, it'll be a different system. So general contractors, they talk to people who are not only qualified, who have money, but ask the general contractor, hey, you know what? You're doing my bathroom. Do you know another plumber? Do you know another electrician? I'm thinking about getting solar, or I'm thinking about getting a generator backup or battery backup. Do you know anybody who you can recommend? So general contractors, hands down, probably the best person that you want in your sphere of influence that you can lean on and partner with. The next person would probably be real estate agents,
Mm,
uh, really good real estate agents. First of all, they don't like solar, by the way. They want their customers to stay away from it. But here in Southern Nevada, in the deserts of Southern Nevada, like there are no trees, right? It's really strange. You can see for miles and miles in front of you. So when you're driving around, you see all these homes, and basically, not everyone, but I'd say about 18%, 15% of the houses at least have glass on their roof. So you're driving around town, you're like, man, I just bought a new house, and all I do is see solar. You're going to think about it and you're going to bring it up to your real estate agent. So if your real estate agent is qualified, they got a lot of business, or they're the head broker, they're like the main agent for that brokerage, that's another person you want to partner up with as well.
yeah. I've heard, I mean, those are two common sort of areas when it comes to all sorts of different type of home service trades businesses. The realtor and the GC, just two important contacts to have. And if you own a trades business, how do you start thinking about how you build out those relationships? I want to talk about just generally the value of solar. What would you say what are kind of like the top three criticisms or skeptics' points of view that you get when it comes to solar? And it's obviously a little unique when you're in Nevada because there is sort of, how much sunshine are you getting? And so if you could kind of speak to how that impacts other parts of the country as well, that could be helpful.
You do get some skepticism about solar out here. And what I find is that it's unfounded almost entirely, or they have a misunderstanding, or they're criticizing solar, but a very small aspect of solar.
Mm,
Not that not that it doesn't like have a return on it itself within, 7, 8 years, 10 years, however it might be for the individual, but the I usually get just kind of blatant attacks. It's a scam. Okay, well, why is it a scam? Well, it's not renewable. Well, nothing's renewable. I mean, we're all going to die. It's this Mac I'm on, it's going to die at some point. I mean, nothing is truly renewable. So I think the attacks that solar get now are kind of really low level attacks by the almost bottom of the barrel type of thinkers, if you will. Here in the deserts of southern Nevada, at least. So I think those attacks are going away because we have hardcore conservatives out here who I service, and they all have solar, right? Because when it comes down to it, it comes down to economics. What's going to win the day? Does it save you money? Well, yeah. Okay. Well, then, I mean, everyone wants to keep more money in their own pocket. So I would say that most of it is unfounded at this point. Um, and a lot of people who really don't like solar, a lot of them even actually have solar here, so
right. It is funny how an energy source has become like a political thing. It's like why how did politics and solar energy even get commingled at any point? But anyways,
people people
the
people are real easily led by their pride and their ego for sure.
yes,
So
yes,
yeah, unfortunately people are, once that ego turns on, your pride turns on, you dig your heels in, and, you might go down with the ego ship if you're not careful.
absolutely. Let's talk a little bit specifically about the business model of solar. So you mentioned right? Kind of step three of getting started is knowing your numbers and understanding that. Walk me through the model, the kind of just the typical economics of your average solar job. How does the revenue flow and what are the margins looking like?
Okay, so there's two different types jobs that you can do. One is a cash job where people are going to pay out of their own pocket, and then one is going to be financed. What we're experiencing now after the 30% tax credit has ended, solar has really slowed down. Like we're not doing as many projects as we were last year, but they're beginning to pick up for several reasons, and I'll touch on that afterward if you'd like. But we're getting a lot of cash buyers right now. And the cash buyers, well, for one, they're qualified. And two, they're already sold on getting a system. Like when someone reaches out to us and they're a cash buyer, they don't need to be closed, if you will. They've already made a decision that solar is something that they want and they're going to move forward. Now it's just a matter of time. Can they find the person who they know, like, and trust, who comes off as a real professional, not a sales guy on like a little laptop and, oh yeah, I drew your system out and this is what it's going to be, but someone who actually knows what they're talking about because the consumer, they're doing their homework. They're YouTubing, they're Googling, they're using AI. Like they're going into the consult, like, dude, super knowledgeable, and they'll spot out a fraud or fake or someone who is less, they perceive as less knowledgeable as them rather quickly. And if someone's going to come in, our next system, I think it's a cash buy, $74,000. Okay, if the guy's got 74, the family of the household got $74,000 cash. Okay, they've had some success in their life. They've been places. They've made silly mistakes and, they've been around the block a few times, so they can sniff things out rather quickly. Um, Now, those margins are good because if you're able to get that deal, in your contract, you want to protect yourself. Like I tell all my cash buyers, and most of our buyers are cash buyers. Hey, we tell them, listen, this is to protect myself. This is what it's going to take to move forward. Like, I don't want you, I don't tell them this, but the risk that we take is that they cut and run or they, say, hey, we're going to sue you. We're not going to pay you for this, whatever it might be, because you just don't know how people are. And you hear stories about that all the time. So if it's a cash buyer, you want to make sure that you're protected from day one, because let's say that you go out and you buy $20,000 worth of equipment from your vendor on credit. And if the deal goes south, well, you owe your vendor 20,000. They're not going to take back that equipment. So you need a few bucks up front, and you need to get paid on progressive pay. Okay, you need some money up front. Okay. And once we put glass on the roof, we expect one more payment. If we don't get that payment, we don't continue forward. Once glass is on the roof and so, like you need to have markers where you get some money so that you have that adequate protection. You'll sleep better at night. If you don't do that, and say you got three of these jobs going on, or five or six, you're not going to sleep at night. Okay. It's going to be very distracting to your peace for sure. And your partners won't like it either. They're not going to sleep either, right? And if your employees find out that you're not sleeping well because you might not get paid, well, they might cut and run. Well, I'm out of here. This guy's not solvent. So that would be one thing for the cash buyers. For the financing is really great because it doesn't put us under any risk because our vendors actually work with banks that finance our products.
Mm.
Um, so it's a really wonderful tool where we sell a system and the system's closed, they sign the agreement, they qualify for financing through the bank that works directly with our vendor. So now the bank will actually um, write a check to the vendor or operate on credit where we have no risk. The risk has been transferred from me to the financial institution. And that makes us feel really, really good. And they will actually give you portions of that project at certain points of the project. Like after inspection, you get like maybe 30, 40, 60% of the money. Post inspection and post commissioning, you get the rest of your money. And solar is like a 1 or 2 day job. So, the points where you get those dollars are almost immaterial because it's a short cycle of a job. But those are the best jobs. And to get qualified with those banks, like I said, you'll need to have some credit, some history, money in the bank, be worthy, that type of thing. So those are the two ways. And you want to hook up with a vendor that finances in-house to transfer the credit from and transfer the risk from you to the financial institution.
Right. So the vendor is the one who basically oversees or at least takes on a lot of the manual work related to financing. You guys just kind of
Absolutely.
make the connection. And then the bank that is financing, they'll pay the vendor so you can get the materials. You do the installation, and then that bank will pay you at sort of certain checkpoints in the project. Is that a fair
Exactly.
summary? Got
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. And those are wonderful too, because there's no negotiating with the customer. Like we're
Right.
negotiating with the customer currently about how much he's going to pay us at certain checkpoints because he's a cash buyer.
Mm.
The man is an attorney, so he understands risk. He understands that, hey, we're just protecting ourselves, and but it's a little bit longer. So the best way is to go with the finance companies because there's no risk on my part whatsoever. I just need to do the job properly.
Right. Makes total sense. Let's talk about sales and marketing specifically. What are some things you've done? And I mean, you can hit on sales, hit on marketing. They're, in some ways one and the same. What are some of the things you have done that you have found to be pretty successful sales motions or initiatives? And then maybe some things where you tried them out and you're like, okay, well, we're not going to try that again. Some good things that have worked out well, and then maybe some things that haven't worked out so well that you learned from.
Oh, totally. Like sales and marketing is always a mystery. It's like an active trader who trades stocks and trying to just figure out this Rubicon or this this riddle that's unsolvable. Because if it was solvable, then like someone would have delivered to me the silver bullet, or I would have discovered it already. But it's a constant moving target because sentiment changes, algorithm changes, the price of marketing changes, the promises marketers come to me, they never change. They always promise me the world, right? It's always going to be great if I just give them, a bunch of money and that, they throw numbers at you. But marketing is always a tough one because for one, sentiment changes. So here in Las Vegas and all across the United States, the big marketers, and some of which who I know, they ran amok in this industry. They completely overpromised and underdelivered. But they didn't just overpromise and underdeliver to the consumer. They actually did that to the installer themselves and left them hanging. Um, so the consumer caught wind of this. They're like, we don't want to deal with any sales organization, any salesman. We don't want to even consider solar right now because you guys have, left gave the industry a black eye. Now, most people who have solar are very happy, but there are some who are not, and they are extremely vocal, and they're letting it be known. So much that here, the contractors board in Southern Nevada, they have what's called their solar task force
Hmm.
that was established just last year. And they're hunting down all the bad solar organizations, and they're gonna tar and feather them once they catch them. They have been. So since sentiment changes, the marketing strategies have to change. You have to be more creative and actually telling your customers that, hey, I know that there are a lot of snakes out there, but we're not a snake type of thing, right? You can trust me. And there's still a barrier up there. So the best way to market yourself is to create content where people can look you up and watch your content and hear you out, hear your story. Most sales organizations can't do that because or marketing rather, they're marketing bait and switch. Hey, the government's going to pay for your solar. Hey, no money down, no money out of your pocket. That catches the eye of people, but it doesn't bring them into the realm of trust. If someone says, "Hey, I can save you a bunch of money," yeah, I look and it catches my attention because that's just my greed, my self-interest operating, and we all are operate that way. But wise people, but people been around the block a couple of times, they stop themselves. Oh, wait, I heard that before. Yeah, and then the skepticism wall gets built back up. So marketing is a huge challenge right now. So you want to create content and let people know who you are, where they can find you, and where they can hear your story, hear about uh, everything that you've been doing. Like on my webpage, we have, tons of videos where you can watch content of hours of me speaking and talking about this industry and my thoughts. And if that gels with you, if I'm articulating messages that make sense to you, well, you're likely going to be like, oh, I think I kind of like this guy. I think I might like him. I might call him up. And then they will open up the lines of communication. And now you have a chance to sell and close that deal. Until then, you're in no man's land. Selling is an entirely different skill set when it comes to marketing. Like selling is, there's different ways to sell and close. You can be the hard closer and browbeat people in. You can be the line manipulator, the schemer closer. And there's a lot of them that get a lot of deals to do that. They don't last long. The industry purges them, at some point. But they make money in the meantime, and they get deals. Or you can be the expert closer. You can be the communicator. You can be the person who knows everything about the industry inside and out. And that's what people like. They want to sit down with an absolute professional because people who have a property, who work professionally, who might be paying cash, if they're getting finance, they did their homework and they want to sit down with somebody who knows their stuff. So, marketing, it's going to be challenging. The most important thing that you want to protect is your reputation. Your reputation is everything. Without your rep, you are done. You're going to spend a bunch of marketing dollars, and man, this is not working out. In terms of sales, you want to be the professional in your space. That's what I'd say about sales and marketing.
Yeah, I think, I mean, to kind of sum that up, it's you want to elude or elicit trust, expertise, and professionalism, both in the marketing aspect of things through the content, and then also on the in person when you're ready to close.
Oh,
Um,
100%, 100%. Like we spend marketing dollars currently, right? And most of the marketing dollars, it's not gonna do anything for you. It isn't. People are just kind of clicking around. People who were interested at we have some great videos that are out there, and people felt the informational for them, and they give us information, and we call them, and they don't want to talk all of a sudden, right? So people are finicky. Oh, you caught me in the moment, and I loved what you were saying, particularly about this new demand charge at NV Energy, which is the utility company that sells electricity to all of us here in Southern Nevada. They're going to raise our rates April 1st through what's called this new demand charge. So we have a whole marketing campaign around that currently. And yeah, we put together a great video, right? People love it. They fill out information. But when it's time to talk, they're like, whoa, you kind of maybe caught me up in the moment a little bit, right? So marketing is extremely tough. That's why content creation is far more effective. And your reputation, referrals, um, and that's where you're going to begin. You don't want to dump a ton of money into your marketing out of the gate, because you might not hit the bullseye, and you might say, "Wow, we spent tons of money on marketing, and now we're gun shy." So
well,
yeah,
on that note, where can people find you on social media, your websites, and then who do you want reaching out, whether it's homeowners, general contractors, where can they find you and who do you want to reach out?
beautiful. Yeah, so you can find us at vegasfamilysolar.com. We have tons of content. We have a YouTube channel, Vegas Family Solar, as well. On Instagram, you can find me at Vegas Family Solar, where I create a ton of content, tons of short videos, 3, 4, 5 minute videos. On my Facebook page, Vegas Family Solar. And if you're here in Southern Nevada and you're a general contractor, or you're a homeowner thinking about battery backup or solar, or servicing your current solar system, and you're concerned about the new demand charge that's happening April 1st, where we're going to be charged on little 15-minute increments, give us a call, and you want a free consultation. We'll definitely see if we can help you out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Peter.
You got it, buddy. Thank you.